Hello, got something a little bit different for you this time. I have been to Bedgebury Forest and I've done some mountain biking. So, Bedgebury Forest is a pinetum in Kent and it's got a single track mountain bike trail as well as some walking trails and some more casual kind of cycling trails. And I went down with a buddy from work, Matt, and Matt is a experienced mountain biker. He's been to Bedbury a lot, goes most weeks. This was the first time I've ever actually done any mountain biking, so it was a new experience for me. It was a lot of fun. Big thanks to Matt for showing me the ropes, because we did one lap together first. A lap is about 8 miles, 13 kilometres on the red route. So we did one lap together. He let me know what to expect on the upcoming trails, which was super useful because there were some bits that, had I not come across before, would have been a bit panic inducing. But that was really fun. And then for the second lap, I let Matt go off ahead because I didn't want to slow him down, and I was faffing about setting up the camera. So apologies for the shaky footage, but it's just on the handlebar mount, so there's not an awful lot of stabilisation going on apart from what the camera does internally anyway. But yeah, it was a really great experience, and I think coming from all the road cycling I do, that really helped in terms of the fitness, because I think while I lacked on the technical skills, I was a little bit slow and cautious on things like these turns. The fitness I have from the other cycling I do meant that I wasn't kind of super slow and like holding people up. But as I say, this was my first time mountain biking, and red routes, they say, are suitable for proficient mountain bikers with good off-road riding skills and fitness. The trail will contain challenging climbs, tricky descents, and technical features such as drop-offs and large rocks. So, as a first experience, go straight in on difficult. That's the way I like to do things. But it wasn't really that difficult. There were a couple of bits, definitely, and fortunately I know how to handle a bike, so they weren't too bad. But as I say, there's 8 miles of trails, and what I've done for this video is just kind of got clips of most of the trails. So if you haven't been to Bedgebury before, this would be a good video, hopefully, to give you kind of an insight into what you can expect. It's mostly kind of flat sweeping sections. We went on a really dry day, so a lot of loose gravel, quite slippy in places. And I think one of the things I wish I'd known before I went is how to kind of ride the berms a bit better. It took a little while for me to remember some of the track cycling I've done. I say some of the track cycling I've done. I've been once. But to look at the exit point, because what I found initially was that I was looking kind of at where I was at that point and kind of being a little bit twitchy, just needed to relax more and just flow through the turns a bit. But what was cool on the second lap was that I was actually catching people up, whereas on the first lap I was definitely a lot slower, and by the second lap, part of it knowing kind of what the trails were like, but also just having that additional confidence of being on a mountain bike, much wider handlebars, lower saddle. It was all stuff that I had to kind of get used to. And I appreciate this video's a chunk longer than what I normally do, but hopefully you guys still enjoy it and you think it's a decent length, hopefully not too long. I'm still learning, I'll always be learning, so if you do have feedback on what I can do to make these videos more watchable and more engaging, let me know. The reason I'm doing voiceover commentary after the fact is because while I have the external microphone, there is a wire that needs to run from the camera itself to where it clips in on my collar, and I didn't want to use it in case it, for whatever weird reason, it snagged on a branch or something like that. I didn't think it was the best idea to do that. But all of the trails are kind of linked by these fire roads, so just kind of gravel tracks between, and this is where I was able to kind of make up a bit more time on Matt. So obviously he'd gone off ahead of me, and he's so much quicker on the technical mountain biking sections, but I was able to gain a bit of time on those kind of connecting gravel roads. And in terms of why I decided to do some mountain biking, it's just because riding bikes is great, isn't it? So there's so many different ways to ride and enjoy your cycling that why limit it to just one kind? Why limit it to just road riding when you've got all this variety? And one other thing I learned from mountain biking, you watch it on like YouTube or whatever, it's always the kind of super fast technical descents which look amazing, and in my mind was like, oh yeah, it's just going to be like freewheeling down, but no, you've got to go uphill to enjoy the downhills, right? So there's still a lot of climbing. So this section here, this trail called Cardiac, is very aptly named because it's just a big climb, and made even more difficult by having this tree having fallen across the path, so having to duck under that. And my instinct was, when it got steep, to get up out of the saddle, but as soon as you do that on a mountain bike, especially on a dry day with lots of loose gravel, your rear wheel is just spinning and you don't have any grip at all, so you really have to do all the climbs seated. So that was a bit of a learning curve for me. The other thing was that instinctively, when I'm on a road bike, I'm doing everything I can to avoid hitting potholes or undulations. But on the mountain bike, just hit them, just go for it. So these sections here are quite rooty, but you just ride over them and it's fine. A few big potholes in the berms themselves I still wanted to avoid. I don't know if it's any quicker to avoid them or go through them, but and then these jumps, obviously I'm not jumping on them because I'm a coward and I was scared to get any kind of air, so I just took them like big undulating bumps, but they were pretty fun. I think I would definitely go back to Bedgebury again because it was so much fun. We were there for about 2 hours, did 2 laps of this 8 mile track. There's a really nice cafe as well, so got some food. I'm getting good now, so I'm able to overtake children, which got to start somewhere, right? And then just these really nice sweeping corners. I don't really know who comes up with the names for these trails, but I did wonder why this one was called Gloomy Wood. I mean, you do find out in a bit, but these were the corners on the first lap that I realised, okay, look at the exit point, look at where you're exiting the turn, there'll be a lot more fluid, although that exit looks pretty shonky. But it's a really nice place, actually. It's, as I said, it's a pinetum, so a cracking collection of conifers. And this is why it's called Gloomy Wood, because it just goes suddenly dark and really dense forest, which is really cool. And also you don't get to experience these environments on your road bike, so there's a bike for every environment, basically, and if you want to see it all, like I do, you're going to have to mix up your bikes. I'm not going to rush out and get a mountain bike. I still want I want to get a new road bike, either later this year or early next year. And then bike after that will probably be a gravel bike. So mountain bike is further down the list, but we'll see. And by this point I've caught up with Matt. I mean, he claims he wasn't, but he was definitely stopping at the end of trails and waiting for me to catch up. I think he just took pity on me, but I mean, to be fair, this was kind of near the final, probably about halfway through the second lap, so getting a bit tired, because it's a lot more work than it looks like. Obviously, we're just kind of freewheeling here, but there's a good chunk of pedalling you have to do as well, and uphill, and the gravel roads between the trails as well. But those aren't the interesting parts to show you, so obviously you only see the cool sweeping descents like this. And there's just a really nice mix of terrain as well. It's probably a good kind of beginner's one, because it is mostly just kind of single track sweeping turns that you can take at your own pace, but there are sections of kind of big rocks, a big drop at one point where if you're not used to kind of shifting your weight about on a bike, it could be pretty hairy, but once you lean back a bit, it's fine. A few more jumps. Maybe one day I'll attack these and get some sick air, but my goal for my first experience was try and get around without crashing, which I managed. Nice little rocky section here, just to mix it up. As I say, it's like there's a few different bits for different skills. They do have a short black trail as well, which is a extreme or severe grade. There's the section to our right here as well, which is just some big rocks, and like if Matt's not going for it, then I'm not gonna try it, because they look pretty gnarly. See, I've even picked up the mountain bike lingo, saying sick and gnarly, as if I can hang out with mountain bikers now. I mean, I was good. I didn't rock up in full lycra, just had baggy shorts and a football shirt on, so yeah, I didn't want to stick out too much. But yeah, these big rocky sections are quite technical. I'm sure people just fly over these, but took it quite cautiously. And then the little kind of gates between trails, they're quite narrow. I nearly stacked it into one of those once. As I say, I was able to stay on my feet mostly. But it probably doesn't look that fast, but when you're on a bit of single track and it's like trees either side of you, it feels pretty quick. Another nice rocky section. This is where the big drop is, I think. Oof, yeah. And when I did this bit on the first lap, I just went off straight there. I didn't make it the whole way. Made it the whole way the second lap though, so that was cool. We just let these guys go ahead of us because they'd been catching us, and it's like golf, I guess. If they're faster than you, you just let them play through, right? I know that if the roles were reversed, I'd be frustrated if I was stuck behind someone, so it's just a nice thing to do. We've just got a few more trails to go now, and then there's like a bonus red trail. So once you're ready to kind of head back to the cafe, I hired a bike, so there's an on-site cycle hire and bike shop called Quench Cycles. That was a pretty good deal actually. 2-hour bike hire for £25, and then I bought a map as well for £2. But yeah, after the full lap, when you're heading back to the car park and cafe and stuff, there's this bonus bit of red trail called Cake Run. And that's like your final chance to kind of give it everything. And if you've made it this far into the video, thank you. It is worth sticking around to watch the Cake Run. I think you'll enjoy it. But this is the final trail of the loop. So Matt told me to go first on this one, so I did. There's a little bit uphill, a bit of climbing to kind of finish. And that is the red route at Bedgebury complete, apart from the Cake Run. So here comes Matt.
Let's see what the absolute legend himself can do this afternoon. Look at the speed of him, Rob. He doesn't pull up on that corner. I'm going to get too excited.
Second in time training, some 5 seconds back.
No,
He's done it.
He's
the only guy. He's the only guy we've seen go off that vertical log drop. I would not do that in the wet, and I had my money on that.
He's 4.6 seconds off.
That is insane! Can he hold it together? He's young, but he has an experienced head on his shoulders, and no matter how loose he gets, he never seems to go down, Nige.
Dude, this is the most talented rider on the mountain here today. He's going to go for it this afternoon. Let's see what he does on this bottom half of the track. Look at the speed he's going, Rob.
He's been getting better and better all season. season. Dude, he cut that turn there. He's still finding time to put in some creative lines. Is this the World Championship run we're seeing right now? We're coming up towards split 2.
He's on the pedals, Rob. He does another pull-off. And he's on the pedals and he's into this final section.
Do you know what? I just want to sit back and watch. This is just unbelievable riding from the youngster from the UK riding for Team Giant. Oh! 5 seconds on what? He is just riding within himself. Feet out.
Look at the skills he's got, Rob. His feet up, knee out. He's pedaling. He does another pull-up.
That was insane. Look at him even cutting that turn there.
That is the most insane racing right there.
He is absolutely amazing.
So that was Cake Run. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, thanks for sticking it out. I know it's longer than my usual videos. Let me know if you like the longer videos, or if you think I should stick to the kind of 8-ish minute ones. Should I have split this up into a couple of different videos maybe? Let me know, because I'm still learning and I appreciate your feedback. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, give the video a like, and drop a comment below. Let me know if you've done mountain biking before, or if you found my channel through this mountain biking video and that's what you want to see more of. Let me know, and I'll see you next time. Bye!